I want to thank you all for being with me today. We're going to talk about the 12th annual Columbus Black Theater Festival. This year, our theme is Peace Within the Storm. And man, do we have some really good creative work to present to you that's going to help you find ways to deal with all kinds of problems and things in your life and finding peace within them through the stories that are told and how other people have found their peace. So what I would like to do first is introduce you to these wonderful actors, directors, and of course, you can't have a play without a playwrights that are with us today. So we'll just start off with, how about anybody just pop in, okay? And if you don't pop in, I'll call you out.
I'll start. I am Ms. Latrice, pronouns any but he, him, and I am a playwright.
Hi, I'm Mark Harvey Levine, and I'm also a playwright. I'm the writer of the play Superhero.
I'm Stephen Woosley. I'm directing Superhero by Mark Harvey Levine.
My name is Jessica Gibson. I'm directing, and I am directing Zip It by Miss Latrice Young.
I am Ariel Wiles. I am directing In Passing as well as When You Were Here.
My name is Alayna Wiles. I am acting in When You Were Here.
It's Tammy Hyland, and I'm playing Kara in When You Were Here.
My name's Andrew Horton. I am playing Blues in the play In Passing by Marita McKee, directed by Ariel. And I am also playing Perry in the play Jam, directed by Sean Maycock, and written by Newsham, I believe.
My name is Jerry March, and I play the character Ace in the play Zip It.
My name is Shawanda Dawn. I play Zora in the play The Ride.
All right, let's start off with Superhero. Let's start with the playwright. And why don't you talk to us a little bit about first you, Mark, as a playwright, and why did you write Superhero?
Well, hi. So I'm a playwright living in Indianapolis, just next door to you guys. And I wrote Superhero because I was interested in, I was reading the Don Quixote story. Now he's a guy who goes sort of crazy and decides that he's a knight to run around. And I thought, what would a modern day version of that be? I think a guy who would go crazy in modern times would think he's a superhero, because that's sort of the modern version of knights. And then I thought it's, sort of it's a way of dealing with all the terror of modern life. And that's how I sort of related to the Peace Within a Storm. Both he and the other character are both have different ways of just dealing with all their fears and all the craziness of the modern world. And even though they both sort of have, crazy ways of dealing with things, she's sort of agoraphobic, never really leaves her house, and gets him to do like all the favors for her. So even though they both have all these different sort of mechanisms for dealing with fear, they sort of help each other. And I thought that would be a nice story about two neighbors who, it's not really a romance. It's more of just two people helping each other.
And Stephen, you're directing that. Talk to us about the direction in your cast.
Well, I haven't had to do much. No. Actually, Reina and Mark came in ready to go. They came in prepared and had really good beats on their characters. I directed Mark Tomsic. The other time I directed him was also a Mark Harvey Levine play, a show called O Tannenbaum. And so in casting him in this, I was kind of typecasting him in a way, because the character he played in that was maybe not quite as nerdy as our superhero here, but I knew Mark had the energy and the physicality for it. And he came in with a superhero voice and a Leonard voice, which was great. And then Reina's already adding different levels to it. And Mark was talking about how it's not a romance. And that was essentially the first question I threw out to them was, is it romance? Is it not? And I think they're kind of leaving it to the audience, but Mark's right. But they're playing a lot of different ways. Reina especially goes through. They both go on a journey, obviously, in the 10 minutes. And I'll say that like many Mark Harvey Levine shows, it is a journey. It's a great concept. We start with you've got like you said, somebody who's trying to be an everyday guy trying to be a superhero, and then it's very funny. And then, as always, you're gonna get touching, and like I said, those two are bringing so much to it. I'm just tweaking physicality and a few things, trying to nudge them this direction or that. But they came with so much, and it's a great script, and it's what I'd seen done before, and it was really well done. And I have avoided the trap of what we did last time, because not necessarily. Those guys are already bringing so much themselves. So I could not be more happy with my casting. So
Cool. Latrice, talk to us about your play.
Yeah, Zip It came out of Andrew Black's Foundations of Playwriting class. Excuse my voice. It came out of that class. And normally what I write is like choreo poems. So poems that are intended for performance, but there's no plot line with the full play when they finish being done. And so this was my first time writing a 10-minute piece that was not poetry or meant to be a choreo poem. And I was very proud of myself and just started submitting it to what I thought was applicable places, and yay, it was selected. And this is very loosely, very, very loosely based on my own personal life. I'm one of those cliche people where I'm like, I write what I want to see. I had not seen, especially like those romantic comedies, if you will, where things kind of do end well for the couple. And then also where the female character is kind of the toxic one, if you will, who doesn't listen as much. Like, I wanted to honor that there are men, really, really good men, supporting you and doing all the crazy things that women ask for because of the way society says a man's supposed to be. And I wanted to highlight that in a weird way. And I also wanted, because I'm a poet, I wanted to play with how many ways I could say zip it in a play without saying zip it. So there's so many metaphors and just underlined subtext of zip it throughout, including the name, how they're named, or oral, a whole bunch of things. There's a lot. So that was like the inspiration behind Zip It and my writing journey. Yeah.
Well, we're really blessed to not have the full, except for one person here for Zip It. I happen to be playing your aura. At first, I didn't want to. I had somebody else do it, but it was so funny, And Jerry, who plays your ace, he and I have played. This will be maybe our 4th or 5th time playing husband and wife together.
Oh, my goodness.
That also was like, hey, that'd be cool to have a reunion with me and Jerry come together as husband and wife again. Because we haven't done it, wow, Jerry, in years now, huh? And Jessica here, who is our director. I'm gonna start with Jessica talking about it. And hey, that was really cool. Now I'm gonna go back and start listening to what I'm saying in regards to how many times we put that zip in it. Wow, that's really cool, Latrice. Jessica.
Okay, so Julie gave me a few plays to pick from, and I really enjoyed yours. It's very like snappy and funny, and I was like, oh, I think we can do a lot here. And since it's a play, the set, there's no set for this because it's really just them walking to the platform to zip line. So we've been able to find kind of, okay, here's where you're gonna end up. Now, how do you get there? And we've done a lot of work with finding the push and pull between the characters, because the easy thing is to make Aura kind of really toxic, like you said. But the better thing is to make her more likable, to make their relationship more likable. And they're doing a great job doing it. And Jerry, especially as Ace, is finding a lot of ways to keep her there without like physically moving her. And so we've worked a lot on that. And I've basically been setting up obstacle courses in the library of like, here's where you're allowed to walk and nowhere else. And Nikhil's not here. And I know in this script, it originally calls for a couple in their 30s. And due to the actors who auditioned and like the chemistry between Julie and Jerry, they do a really good job contrasting with our zipline worker, Nikhil, who is very young, we've got him playing it very straight. And the contrast between the two is really good. And I hate to say it, Julie, but naturally Julie has been able to olden up some of the phrases. We've had to explain YOLO.
I didn't know what the heck that was. See,
And
this is what was so funny because I didn't know, I had no idea. I'm like, oh, she done made up something. That's really cool. Yo ho, yo ho. You know. And then of course, like the characters in your play, they looking at each other like, what did she say? And of course, all the young people around me was looking at me like, you know what that means. It's, you know, so I've learned a new term in regards to it's not yo ho. What is it, Jerry? What is it? What is it, Jessica? Jerry, what is it?
Oh,
Is yo ho.
I've ever remembered my line.
so yeah, we're having a lot of fun. It's a great play.
Thank you.
Jerry, talk about your role as Ace.
Oh, yeah. I play Ace, and me and my wife have been together for 10 years. And sometimes people get into a comfort zone doing the same thing, you know, going out dinners, movies. So sometimes, like, you know, a storm has to come. You have to spice up your relationship or it will get dull, it will get boring. So we decide to go zipline. And we have a little storm because, like I said, we're trying to get out of our comfort zone. And we end up going ziplining and we have problems, but did we make it through? You're going to have to check out the play.
And for me, the character is really fun to play, and challenging me into get into being nervous, and you know, because I'm fearless, you know. So to have a person with my personality who is fearless, having to, you know, become this person that is scared, you know, and actually needing some comfort and support to get me through, to help me with the peace I'm gonna need to get through this storm. Because I'm gonna need some peace to get through this storm. And so it's, you know, it's that contrast of having that support, you know, as you talked about. And also, as Jessica put out, having the give and take that's necessary for a successful relationship, you know, and acceptance. I think I really like about it is the acceptance for each other for who they are, you know, and what they want to be, and accepting that, but at the same time saying, let's, you know, taking a risk to, as I think it was at you, Jerry, this is spice it up, you know, just do something different sometimes to keep that spice. So you did a good job. It's great comedy, and I love comedies. So
now you make me
like I
want
said,
to
but my challenge is, you know, becoming, you know, being that woman that's not fearless, you know, that needs to get on out there. All right, we talked to Steven. Oh, we got Ariel. Ariel, you have 2 plays, and you have 3 of the actors here that we can talk about them. Why don't we start off with In Passing?
In passing, it's a relationship between an uncle and his niece, and it starts off very, very calm, if you will. Very, you can see the love between these two characters build when they're introduced to each other, and you realize something is wrong, but you find out that that Blues is actually sick, and Rain is the one that is coming in to assist him with his medical needs, and then turning out to be that he's actually terminal, and there is no coming back from that, and her having to deal with that and hear that come from him, opposed to him, having to learn this from, say, a medical physician of some kind, and her coming to terms with it and having to let go with the burden of holding him and his needs on her shoulders, and him allowing her to do so, him giving her that allowance. But I have to say, both Andrew and Kadance they play off each other so well. I mean, they have taken these two characters, and it's going to be a little tearjerkerish when it's time for it to play out on stage. And both of them have just ran with these characters, and it's a beautiful thing to watch.
Andrew, you want to tell us about your character?
I play the character of Blues, and Blues in passing is, again, as Ariel was saying. Let me first just kind of I don't want this to go by with me. I want to make sure I mention that just the direction that we're receiving from Ariel, it's very, very, she allows us to just basically let the artistry flow, and that's not easy as a director, because you have an idea, you have a vision, right? And but at the same time, the writer also has the vision as well, and then the actor comes along and is the vessel through which that kind of takes place. And so it's weaving all that together. And I know that's in every play, but it's very, very unique in this one, because there's just enough freedom that Ariel has allowed and wants. And even, when I'm like, okay, well, what do you know? She's like, no, I want you to, what do you feel? And so this is a play about feeling, and something basically about your experience. I think we've all gone through, or most of us have gone through situations where we have dealt with someone, whether it be just a family member, a close friend, someone who we want to be around always, and you're now faced with the situation that, oh, I am going to have to live life without this person at some point. And so my character kind of comes in and he wants to be strong. He's the one that has the sickness, but he wants to be strong, but at the same time, he may not be as, when you're facing the finality of this earthly life, I think everybody still has questions, no matter how faithful you are. People still wonder, they still might be just kind of like, they worry. So I think that's what goes into this play, and this is why it is very interesting to play, because I don't know if I played a character quite as, not like this. I've been in, in the other plays I've been in, I don't know. I'm just really, and then Candace, she really, or Kadance, I'm sorry, she really, I wasn't sure, because, when I first came on, how that would go in terms of her youth and my almost youth. But she is so talented in terms of, the singing that has to be done. Because remember, there's music in this too. And so when she comes in and kind of and kind of follows the jazziness of the momentum of the scene, it's so right on. I'm just pleased, just to make a long story short, to be involved with this. And I know that Julie, you had I know that this was one that you had probably recommended that I read for, and I'm so glad you did, because I don't
Yes.
know if I yeah.
Yeah, when you came to the auditions, I was like, oh, and then you told me you had a little musical background because it's perfect. You have a musical background, and Kadance is a beautiful singer. You know, she's got a musical background. Ariel is a perfect director for this type of piece. And you see, guys, why we need plays like Zip It and Superhero, because we need, and my readers do such a great job. I have two of our readers that select our plays. That's Jessica and Stephen that is with us, and they're part of the team that selects the plays that we put on each year, and they do a great job of picking plays that we have a balance. You know, so like, you know, I always say, yeah, so after you finish tear jerking it up and whatever, bam, we hit you with something that's going to have you, oh, okay, I'm cool, you know, so that you can breathe. And also in the plays that we pick too, even in passing, there still are moments in it where it's still fun. You know what I'm saying? It's not all that at all. So that's why we need superheroes, and we need auras and aces and zippets in the Black Theater Festival, so that we can balance out the really good, the stuff that's going to have people really thinking. Not that you're not going to be thinking about superhero or zip it and how your life relates to that, but thinking about, like Andrew just said, sometimes the consequences of what if we're not here. What then? Grief. How do we get through peace within the storm when we're dealing with grief or that? And speaking of that, let's move on, Ariel, to talk about, of course, When You Were Here, which Tammy and Alayna are acting.
That one, When You Were Here, that is a tale. It's primarily from the mother's point of view, and a loss that no parent should ever have to face, losing a child. And her reminiscing in those precious moments, those memories of the loss of her child, as well as the interaction of her living child that is current, and how they are going to have to carry on, even without this precious person that was there. So that is I got the two tear jerkers, I will say. So and I will say that Alayna and Ezra, they have a beautiful camaraderie that they just met each other, and yet you would think that they've known each other for years. And Tammy, sorry, giving you your character name. She takes on the mommy role just beautifully. She is a mommy, so she can fully understand what it's like to rein in a little one, and her being able to the heartbreak that comes across her voice, and having to express that as each memory is unfolded is quite something. So yeah, tissue all around for mine, I will just say.
And you know, you're such a great comedy queen. Just came off from In Search of a Prince, which was a magnificent comedy. Kudos to that. And so it's really, you know, and you know, you're my theater. I got two theater daughters here. I got my Jessica and I got my Ariel. And they've been with me a long, long time. And I've just watched them blossom and grow. And Ariel can just, you know, you just do everything. And oh, by the way, everybody, this is Jessica's debut as a director. And I'm really happy and proud. That's another reason why I was happy to take the part, because I was like, yes, I want to be a part of it. I want to be a part of her debut show. So yay! She can never forget me. Yay! Alayna, tell us about your role in When You Were Here. What do you think about the character?
I like my character a lot because I get to show how like it feels from different people's point of view of how losing a child is not fun. And how trying to get the right words. and how it's hard, and I can show the good memories, but when you know what's happened after the memories, it's not not great. But I am glad that I get to have this role, and I think I played pretty good.
Well, honey, I've seen you perform and I've taught you some of them little acting skills. So yes, I'm sure you're doing pretty well. I can't wait to see you on the stage again. Shawanda, I'm so happy you're back with me. This is one of my wonderful, wonderful theater girls too. Just love her. Talk to us now. Shawanda's in the play called The Ride. And the ride is not a ride in a car, and or a ride on a a plane, or a ride where you would think, oh, the ride, where are they riding to? The ride is about the ride we take when we use drugs and alcohol to deal with our own grief, and when we also not only use drug and alcohols to escape the reality of what's happening, and dealing with what we feel we're responsible for, even though we're not, because sometimes in life things happen, accidents happen and whatnot, and we feel guilty about them because we think, what if, and I coulda, I shoulda. But it also not only talks about has this one person who is Max, who is the one that's caught up in the addiction of the drugs and trying to make a decision on if he's going to continue this ride to get through it. And along comes, well, I'll let Shawanda tell you about who she is, but it shows how it takes, I think, how two people who are dealing with the same type of a situation in different destructive ways, that there's self-sabotage, and that, because both of them are still self-sabotaging, but in different ways, and how coming together, you can help each other sometimes to pull up out of that ride that you on, park it and get out. So I wanted to tell them about your role as Zora.
My role as Zora is an interesting one. I was telling our director Alan that I feel like I'm playing myself, because Zora and I are very similar in some ways. She is a waitress at like a restaurant, and one of her regulars, Max, comes in and he's dealing with this rough time of losing his beloved pet, and Zora is trying to kind of explain to him the ride of grief, the ups and the downs, and there's a lot of color imagery and things there. And we just have to, I'm trying to get him to get off this ride, but he's constantly going up and down and back and forth, and I should have did this and I could have did that, but I'm trying to explain to him and get it through his head that it's a ride. Things are going to happen. You got to talk it out. You got to do this. You got to do that. While Zora is experiencing her own sense of grief due to the loss of her father.
We all love what we love. And sometimes people think that what we love may not be as important as what they think. And so there is that twist in here when Zora finds out that he's grieving for his dog, because it's sometimes people don't look at us with our pets. I have 2 dogs. They're very I've had dogs for 14 years. Every dog that I've had has lived 12, 13, 14 years that I've had as an adult. So in my adult age, I've had 4 dogs that been with me. And when the 3 passed, it was hard, because they had been with me for 14 years. And, some people that don't have pets or whatever, they don't get it. Or, they can't understand why you would be upset, that you lost a dog. you know, that's not a human being. So that's some of that stuff kind of comes out in this play with the ride too, in dealing with, because that's some of the stuff that Max is dealing with that people don't understand or get his grief. You know, or want to dismiss it because it's an animal, you know, and but Zora doesn't do that. Zora it's the one that helps him understand that no, it's all important. After, of course, she realizes what he's talking about, you know. So that's that key too in it, that, you know, the twist, because until she realizes what he's talking about, you know, and it's just a really good play. And the Edwyn Williams plays Max. He'll be returning. This will be probably his third year with us with the Black Theater Festival, and he's a brilliant actor, Shakespearean, really, you know, and he's just a brilliant actor. And the contrast between Edwyn and Shawanda is just. So we knew right off. We contacted Shawanda, said, Shawanda, you have got to do this. You know, my other theater daughter, Jasmine Green, was like, Shawanda has got to do this role because this is perfect for her because of your skills as an artist and as an actor, and your ability to bring this character who is zoop zoop a ride herself to this. Tammy, I'm so sorry. I skipped over you. You are the mother in, I think what happened was you popped out, so I just moved on, and then you popped back in. Talk to us about you and your feelings about your role as the mother in when you were here.
Well, I play Kara, the mother of Harper and Amos, and we're just trying to deal with the death of Harper. And you'll hear a lot about the new normal in the play, and that's just about Amos and I, my surviving son, trying to find ways to remember Harper and talk about Harper. And it's also a balancing act for me because I'm trying to grieve her death as a mom and also trying to be strong for Amos. So, yeah, it's a real balancing act trying to do both of those things.
You know, I've never had, thank God, to deal with that balancing act with one of my children because I lost a children, but I have had to deal with both of my daughters losing their fathers and having to deal with that, which is it's the same realm when you know that your babies are hurt. But how do you deal with grief when your children are grieving? How do you balance it so that you can be there for them while you're needing somebody there for you? it's yeah. So yeah. And then I want to go backwards, and we're going to start with you, Tammy, and just work our way back for the last question of this interview, which I think is very important. The theme for the Columbus Black Theater Festival this year is Peace Within the Storm. So in one or two sentences, tell me, each one of you, how does the play that you wrote, direct, or are performing in, how does it bring home the theme, Peace Within the Storm? Tammy, we'll start with you.
For us, we bring the peace by just trying to remember Harper, trying to make peace with her death. How can we honor her? How can we remember her? How can we talk about her? And that is our peace within the storm, the new normal, our new lives without Harper.
Latrice?
Yeah, I think for the characters in my play, when I was writing, the goal was the storms are always going to be there. So that moment of silence, when they finally are zipping it, if you will, you can actually hear and see each other for the first time as they are. And there lies the peace. And I relate that to relationships, not just in marriage, but families, friendships, etc. the peace within the storm comes from being still and being silent and listening and watching and acting accordingly.
Andrew?
Yeah. I didn't. I'm gonna probably focus more on the jam because I didn't talk about jam earlier. But jam in terms of jam is the play where it's a traffic jam basically, and a guy meets another person on the highway and they become friends. My character does not really want to become friends. He's got his own vision in mind, but sometimes you have to slow down in the storm and you have to check out everything that's going on around you, and there might be some blessings around that you might not even have thought about while you're going through the storm if you just didn't take the time just to listen and just to think about what's truly important. So I'll say that.
And Mark?
Well, at the beginning, I wanted to sort of make people think it's their various defense mechanisms. But really by the end, I'm hoping that they get the real peace within the storm is when they just rescue each other, which is, all we can do.
I like that. Jerry?
Okay. From Zip It, like I said, me and my wife has been around for 10 years. So we basically have a boring life. But when a storm comes up, as in trying something new, we want to show the audience that you should do it together as a couple. Because if you together as a couple, you can beat any storm.
Stephen?
Yeah, I'm Mark kind of addressed it, but it is also that thing of, we always see that thing of, you never know what someone else is going through. And I think both the characters in superhero are kind of in their own storm, and they kind of learn more about each other's storm, neither of them presumes that they know what the other one's up to, but we learn through the 10 minutes. And then, as Mark said, they do find that peace, and they help each other find that peace in the storm. So yeah, it's very beautiful and funny.
Shawanda, what kind of piece is it in the ride?
I think for both of my characters that are in the story, it's just holding on through the storm, because it's going to be hard, it's going to be difficult, but just holding on and just going through it and just waiting until it's time for you to get off the ride.
Jessica?
For me, I think it's probably similar to Jerry's view, is once the characters kind of find their peace, they are able to, it's my cat, if you heard her just now, come together and accomplish their goal that they set out to start at the beginning of the play, and maybe discover something new about themselves.
Ariel?
And in passing the storm of this medical situation and trying to find peace with knowing that you're going to lose someone, that you're going to lose that person, and them giving you peace by telling them it's going to be okay, even though they're going through an emotional roller coaster of being at peace with them, with this final result of having to say, you can let go because I'm okay with it. And of course, when you were here, trying to find peace in a stormy situation between going through a loss and trying to hug the one that's still here and make sure that they're okay, and trying to be okay with them and knowing that it is okay to grieve together. So yes, both of those were rough.
And last, we have our youngest person of the day, Alayna. What are you getting from the thing peace within the storm from your play?
I'm getting that I have the memories of that is that is making my mother and my brother grieve, and like that's causing a storm, but at the same time it helps them find peace, and that's how what I get. And from basically it's the same thing that Mom said and Tammy said, basically just having to find your peace with grieving a lost one, and you have to stay strong.
That's some good stuff, Alayna. And for me, in general, each year I asked God, I pray and ask God to give me the theme for the year. And this year was peace within the storm. There's a lot of, we're going through a whole lot of different stuff, different storms in America, across the world, even weather storms. People are suffering from just the weather. We've been going through so much in different things. And I believe that God gave me the thing, peace within the storm, because at this time we need to have, see that there is a way out, see that even in the midst of any of what's going on in our lives, that other people have made it out of it. And if they can make it out of it, we can make it out of it. And I think some of the strongest themes that my readers selected today, and I'm gonna tell you, I know that, a lot of people don't believe in God, but I do believe that when I pray and ask for something that, and he gives it to me, that it's ordained to have it. And I say this because the readers all pick these plays and they all almost have a similar theme. The peace within the storm could have been anything. It could have been anything. And believe me, out of the 80-something plays that we got, it was about anything and everything, under the storm, because a lot of stuff happens, that causes inner turmoil. But the group of readers, they picked these 8 plays and they all mess. And at the end of it, they all really have the same theme. We need each other. We need to help each other, and that we can get through storms with each other. And so I am so happy that all of you have agreed to be a part of the 12th Annual Columbus Black Theater Festival this year, and that you playwrights submitted your plays that were accepted, that you directors accepted the call to bring these to life, and that you actors also accepted the call to come, and so that we can bring all of this full circle on the stage live to our audiences. So thank you so much for being with me on Let's Talk Theater. See you guys on the stage.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Hey, do you have your tickets yet for the Columbus Black Theater Festival? You better get them. It's July the 5th, 6th, and 7th at the Columbus Performing Arts Center Van Fleet Theater. We have 8 great plays for you. You don't want to miss it. Our theme this year is Peace Within the Storm, with plays called In Passing, Jam, Rear View Reflections, Superhero, The Ride, Twinship, Zip It, and When You Were Here. Get your tickets today at mindforgodproductions.com. Go there. Early bird tickets on sale right now. Don't miss it.